Hi, YouTube, Internet. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm filming today on the cell phone for various reasons. So we have some limitations on what I can do. So I'll try to keep this quick. And I'm continuing Psionics for 2E, D&D. And we're going to work strictly out of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2E, the complete Psionics handbook today. So I just kind of want to table that other book for right now and focus on these beginning mechanics and what the book has to say. Now, on page 11, it talks about and 10, the book talks about psionic strength points, power source, and power checks. So I thought I should go over that. Now, the psionic strength points, character use psionic powers, much like proficiencies. Characters' total psionic strength points, or PSPs, are similar to hit points, except the psionist spends them willingly, and he can recover them much faster than lost hit points. Good to know. Power source. Like a proficiency, every psionic power that a character knows has a score. In other words, the psionic power score represents the character's aptitude in using that particular power. Power scores are devised exactly like proficiency scores. Every psionic power is associated with one of the character's basic attributes, strength, wisdom, etc. The psionic power score equals the character score for that attribute plus or minus a specific amount. For example, a psionic power with a score of intelligence subtract 3 has a score 3 less than the character's intelligence. Okay. Power checks. When a character wants to use a psionic power, the player makes a psionic power check by rolling a 1d20. If the number rolled is equal to or less than the power score, the character succeeds. In other words, he does what he intended. The player subtracts the cost of the power from his character's total pool of psionic strength points. If the roll exceeds the psionic power score, it means the character tried to use his power but failed. Failure has a price. The player must subtract half the cost of the power, rounded up from the character's psionic strength points. In most cases, the psionist can try to use the same power again immediately in the next round. For exceptions, see the individual power descriptions in this book. Excuse me. This will be unedited, folks. I'll get all the coughs and ums and everything. Like a proficiency check, and my light's going out because the room I'm in. You'll get that too today. I usually edit all this out because we got to save the planet. So I got to work in the dark. Okay. So like proficiency check, a psionic power check yields specific results on the die roll of 20 or 1. A 20 always indicates failure. A 1 always indicates minimum level of success, regardless of the character's power score. In other words, even if the character's score has been reduced to a negative number by penalties, a roll of 1 still succeeds. That doesn't mean a 1 or any low number is the best result. A 1 means the power works, but often with a quirk or a drawback. See the individual power descriptions for specifics. Players may use optional skill score rule for psionic powers too. If the die roll for the power check equals the character's power score, special results occur. Chapter 3 through 8 provide the details. All right, so let's just pause right there on this. I kind of want that stuff to sink in, because if you've been playing 5E, where they've kind of simplified all the mechanics into difficulty challenges, and usually Most of it works with 20 is great. 1 is horrible. You actually want to do the opposite of what they're talking about here as far as succeeding, because you want to hit that challenge number or better, right? Now, in this case, you want to not hit that challenge. You want to hit that challenge number or less. And also rolling your optimal skill score. That's what's going to give you the coolest results. So that's a bit different, but it does make sense because they're using the attributes to determine the ability checks versus the way modern D&D does stuff, which is on that sliding scale of 20 plus or minus any modifiers sort of situation, where 10 is your 50% chance. So you got to look at it a bit differently. In some ways, the mechanics are similar, and in some ways, they're completely different. This is probably completely convertible over to the modern system with some careful thought, which maybe we can give that a shot down the road. But first, it's important to understand the mechanics of what the original versions of these rule sets were trying to do before you just go in and start changing stuff willy-nilly. Because that's when you get yourself in trouble. When you get into something that's this interlocked with, say, attributes. I still believe ability scores or raw ability scores are incredibly important to characters. The reason for that is I still, as a DM, will affect people's abilities, even if I'm playing 5e. Not everything that kills you because it takes away your hit points. Some things kill you because it took your strength away, or your constitution away, or your intelligence away. And you're like, well, why would that kill you? Because if your intelligence gets down to 0, you're effectively in a coma. You're brain dead. Your body won't, without life support, your body won't function. That sort of situation, like if something devours your intellect, it's doing more than just it's taking all your memories. It's doing more than blanking. If you go too low, like if you go into negatives, then it's not just blanked you of all your knowledge, but now it's sucking out the parts of your brain that operate, your breathing, things like that. Let's see, stamina's a different game, but constitution, if that gets down to 0, you're done. So it's things like that you think about. A 0 strength, you're Jello person on the floor. So there are things in the game, older mechanics, that I will still employ even in a 5e game, because the effect is terrifying. And if that's what I need to terrify the players, because that's the kind of game we're playing, then that's what I'm going to do. So again, it's about setting. It's also about point of view. To me, everything on the player's sheet is useful. Their alignment, their abilities, their modifiers. Doesn't matter the system. The actual system, that's just the framework that we're going to do combat with. Scenario. The rest of this stuff, that's the person, and when that stuff's affected, it affects play. So, but understand the mechanics in 2e are very different in a way than 5e, yet not as different as you think when you go in and start converting stuff. I know I was converting original D&D dungeon, so old D&D, pre-basic, first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons to 5e. So that was a whole process. I got the first level done for, the conversion, and had plenty of time to think about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And it's very educational if you ever decide to do something like that, because you have to delve into the mechanics of both systems so you can convert appropriately. And I think I did that. It's a wacky dungeon for sure. But it was educational. And I may convert it again to a completely different system here in the future, because it's educational to me as the DM running different games, so that game mechanics are clear in my head about what I'm doing. And then, I can run people through that dungeon and in different settings. So it's fun. I like the stuff. Anyway, that's today's little bit on psionics. And I just kind of want you to think about how the dice work differently. The next one on psionics, we should be covering how the PSPs are calculated. We'll probably talk about gaining disciplines, gaining sciences and devotions, raising power, psionic power scores, that kind of stuff. So like the next 2 pages, we'll talk about that. The effects of level, because level affects some stuff. So, and it looks like, just if you're interested, my lights went out again. So we'll just keep talking. That psionicists are D6 for their hit dice, just so you know. So not as weak as they could be. We'll have to compare, maybe could pull the 2E Player's Handbook and see what the other standard classes, how they rank. But that is today's psionics video. No music, no cool intro. I have no way of editing on my cell phone. So you got all the technical difficulties I deal with when I'm filming today. And we'll move on to the next thing I'm supposed to film. Peace out, people. Have a great Monday. Bye.